case. So while we have German parents, we consider ourselves to be an Alabama company. I mean, we're born here and we're growing up here, and we believe that a large part of our operations team here in Alabama will actually be from the southeastern United States and from Alabama. In terms of investment, to date we have, when you look at a $4.6 billion budget, half of that budget is for our equipment. There are only 3 companies in the entire world that can build the equipment for a hot strip mill, for a cold rolling mill, and for galvanizing lines. And nearly half of our budget is for that equipment. And we are using a German company. There's none in North America, 2 in Germany and 1 in China. And we're using a company called SMS-DMAG. So when you take out that part of the investment, which we're pretty limited on who we can spend that money with, and you look at what's left, over $1.5 billion has been invested in the past nearly 2 years with companies based in the southeastern United States. And these are our sister states of Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, and of course that number includes Alabama, which I think during the current economic times has been a tremendous boost. It has to have been a tremendous boost to the economies of those states. If you look at Alabama, of that non-equipment related investment, we have in Alabama, with Alabama companies, spent over $600 million in the last close to 2 years, and in the surrounding areas of Mobile, Washington, Baldwin counties, over $150 million with companies here. In fact, during our construction phase, we have on our vendor list, we are presently doing business in some shape or form with over 800 companies based in Washington County, Mobile County, and Baldwin County. And I'm sure each of those companies also, like me, are very glad that this project is in construction here in Alabama. We are on schedule to begin operations, the first of our operations, in the second quarter of spring of 2010. That was our target at the very beginning, and that's remained our target the entire time, and we're on schedule to do that. On our stainless side, because of the market conditions, the stainless side will begin operations in the last quarter of 2010, but so they'll also begin their operations in 2010. They'll be starting at a lower capacity of production, and then that will of course depend on the market conditions. And the melt shop, which is an important part of the stainless project, has been delayed until 2012, and at the very latest 2014. But the important thing is that the overall scope of the project, the timing of some of the projects has changed, but the overall scope of the project has remained the same. The investment has not changed. In fact, the investment went up, and the overall scope of the project has not changed. So we will, the melt shop will be built and will be operational, and stainless will begin their operations next year as well. We are also building a history with our communities. We have 2 doors to our site. One is on Powell Bayou Road that our stainless colleagues use. The other one is on Highway 43 that we on the carbon steel side use. So one opens up into Washington County and one opens up into Mobile County. So we kind of are standing on that fence and hoping no one will ever throw rocks at us from either side. But we do feel a part of both of the communities of Mobile and Washington County. We have a number of employees in the steel and stainless side that are from Washington County. We are building those partnerships. We've been very focused, very inward looking for the last 2 years because we simply have had to be. We are under tremendous pressure in terms of time schedule. It's a very large, complex project. In fact, we're reaching within probably the next 2 or 3 months, we'll be reaching the most complex part of the project because we've begun installing the equipment for our mills. We have about 4,200 construction workers on site. That number will continue to rise. These are contractors, subcontractors, subcontractors. So in order to get this done, and also the internal construction project that we have going on, when ThyssenKrupp Steel announced this project and our companies were formed, we started off looking for desks, pencils, computers. We had no rate structures. We had no employee manuals. everything, literally, starting from scratch, to build these two companies that you knew in 2 years had to be ready to employ 2,700 people. And to do that with a staff that's gradually growing. When our HR Vice President, Andy Ritter, first started and was interviewed about 2 years ago, he was speaking to the President and CEO and asked the traditional questions of what are my benefits going to be, talk to me about holidays, and the President had to say, we don't have that yet, that's why I'm hiring you. You've got to put this in place. And so you begin building, and for a long time we were up with 100 employees and trying to manage this huge project. At the same time, you're trying to bring people on to help you do that, to help build it. It's been a real challenge, but one, thankfully there are people much smarter than me that we have on board that are making all of this happen. I'm just amazed by it every day, especially not coming from a construction background. It's really amazing. But we are working on building those partnerships, and we expect to, we want to be good neighbors, and we want to be very good citizens of both Mobile and Washington County. And what we've asked is for people to be patient, that as we know what we're going to do when we begin operations, we're going to process steel coils, we're going to be the premier steel producer in the NAFTA market, but we also are having to decide who we want to be and who we want to be to our neighbors and our communities. Where's our best fit? A lot of that will be determined by the people that we hire, because certainly we want to reflect the team that we have and the feelings of the employees that we have, and so it's been a slow start for us because of the unique situation that we're in. But again, we plan on being here for many generations, and employing lots of Mobilians, and would that be Washingtonians? Yeah, okay. Chattamonians? Lots of local folks for a very long period of time. And as we do that, and they bring this back to their communities, and they bring their involvement in their communities back to us. So we're looking forward to doing that. And again, thank you very much for letting me speak with you today.
We're excited to have ThyssenKrupp, a member of the community, and I think I'm going to take a little bit of a risk here. Let's take a 10-minute break.